Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kechelle, and today we're setting up my October bullet journal. Now, it is very late. I'm setting this up on October 13th, but it's better late than never, okay? For this October theme, I did take inspiration from Riley Autumn. She's somebody I've been watching on YouTube for a few years now, basically since I started, or maybe even before I started my channel. She did a very simple October theme for one of her custom bullet journals that she makes for sale. And I'll put a picture up above in the corner, and I just loved it. One thing I did talk about in my video explaining how I failed at bullet journaling. In that video, I talked about many reasons I thought I did not do well with a bullet journal structure. Even though you can make a bullet journal however you want, I am not the type of person who plans in my journal, or originally I wasn't. And one of those reasons is because it took way too long to set things up. And Riley Autumn is a person who does not sketch anything. I think Amanda Rach Lee is like that as well. But I used to sketch every little thing out. And at some point, I just had to get confident and comfortable with the skills that I knew I had and just go for it. So I think that's going to be the key for me moving forward. That and setting up as many pages at one time as possible. But we'll talk about that later on in the video. So I'm just using a variation of a yellow, like a deep yellow, a bright orange, a rust-ish color, a green, a tan, and a gray. I am doing some regular plump roundish pumpkins. I'm doing some more elongated tall rectangular pumpkins, and then I'm doing some pumpkins that kind of look like a squash to me, honestly. But I love this color scheme. I love the muted colors. Even with the bright yellow, it is bright, but it's not like the pale yellow I used last month with the lemons. So it brings a nice contrast to that deep gray and the rust that I was using. Once I have everything laid out and drawn, again, I'm going to go back with my Pigma Micron in the 0.01 fine tip to just give this more of a sketch look. The last thing I'm going to do is add some drop shadows to my wording using that light gray color, and then we'll be done with this page. Now on this next page, we're going to start with a small monthly calendar. I am making each box 3 dot grid spaces wide and 4 dot grid spaces long. Now, I did accidentally make this calendar too short, but we'll fix that when we get there. I am taking 3 of the 6 colors I use on the front page, on the title page, and I am using them. I'm alternating between them so that I can use small circles or create small circles to put the numbers for each date in. And it's around about this time that I realized once I get done numbering, I was only on like 26. So I had to go ahead and extend that line, add some more of our colorful circles, add the line at the bottom, and then fill in the rest of the numbers. I love these calendars that are open and they are just horizontal lines instead of making the entire grid for the month. I added some details down at the bottom for notes or for anything I may want to have in my monthly overview. And then I add the title Month at a Glance at the beginning or at the top of this page, and that's it. This next page is going to be for my prayer for the month and a space for my favorite scriptures. So I'm going to keep this layout very simple. I'm only going to create 2 boxes, one large box at the top for my prayer, and then one smaller box at the bottom for my favorite scriptures. Now in hindsight, maybe I would have switched them because when I used to bullet journal my scriptures, I had a lot of space for my scriptures. And I'm guessing I just wanted to keep everything on the same page. So I didn't use a lot of space. And maybe I'll just put one scripture down here because that's really all I have room for. And then at the top, I wrote, Dear Heavenly Father, just as the first few words to my prayer, whatever I decide to pray over my life for the month of October. I am going to use a variation of those same 6 colors to draw some boxes using a thick line and then going in between or over that thick line with a thin line in a different color. So that top box, I'm using the orange and the yellow, and then the box at the bottom, I'm going to use green for the thick line, and then I'm going to use that dark gray for the thin line. And it was right about here that I noticed that my green marker was starting to give up on me and go dry, and that just broke my heart. This is one of my favorite greens. I've had these markers for a few years now, so it makes sense that these markers are starting to go dry. The only thing is that with Crayola, you can't really buy them one by one like you can with the Tombow. So I guess I'll just have to find a replacement in the Tombow dual brush pen markers. So the next page is going to be my gratitude log. Real simple. I'm going to write log in that hand lettering, create a yellow space so I can write the word gratitude, and then I'm just going to highlight the weekends for the month, alternating between yellow and orange. And then I'm going to create some doodles at the top, a few little pumpkins, and I'm going to add some washi tape. I have fallen in love with washi tape, but I don't have enough of it. So the only washi tape that I have, I am using on these spreads. It is a grid pattern in that light tan and then also in that dark green. And although I like the colors, I think I should have maybe cut them smaller. I'm not sure, but I'll probably go back and tear them off. This next page, I am going to put my goals and my habits. I really like for my goals and my habits to share the same space so that as I'm working on my habits, I am also looking at my goals and vice versa. I also want my habits to reflect the goals that I have for this month. So I've started to put them both on the same page. I am using that Crayola Super Tip in a dark brown color to do some hand lettering, and it took a very long time. It took way longer than it should have. I think this clip with the hand lettering was sped up probably 4 times the speed of what I was actually writing, and it still looks a little slow. So I'm going to give myself some space for 3 goals and 5 habits because that's all I could fit on this space. And yeah, I was okay with that. I am doing some mini calendars, and I outline them in that dark brown color. I did not number the spaces because it would have taken too long, honestly. And I'm pretty sure I can figure out which day I'm on if I just flip back to my future log at the beginning of my journal, so it's not that big of a deal. The next day is my moods tracker. I am also doing that hand lettering in the brown. I then create a key for my moods using 5 different colors. And then I'm going to write October going along the side of the right hand side of the page here. I do have these pumpkins drawn in, but I did not want to draw them in permanently using my micron or a pen yet because I'm going to fill them in as I go, and I don't want the micron to bleed when I start using the markers on top of it. You know, sometimes when you write with the black pen that I'm using right now, this micron pen, and then you go over it with marker, it will bleed and it'll change the color of the section that I'm coloring. So to avoid that, I am just going to leave them all sketched in with the pencil. On this next page, it's just going to be a huge section for a brain dump. Using that same brown marker, I'm going to write the word brain at the top left hand corner and then dump in the bottom right hand corner. The dump came out pretty dumpy. It came out really weird looking. So in hindsight, I would have changed that, but it's okay. And then I'm just going to create some borders going around this page and end it off with some of the same doodles with the pumpkins. I wanted this page to make sure I had enough give space for my thoughts for this month. I am creating a lot of content. I'm enjoying it. Thankfully, prayerfully, I am having a few more job interviews, and I need space that is structured. Although that's the opposite of what I talked about in my last video, I know, but plans change, and that's a beauty of the bullet journal. I just need this space right here for when I have the random thoughts, random ideas, creations, notes, or anything like that. And I love how it turned out. Since we are so deep into October, I am wondering how early you guys start your November planning. If you are a bullet journal girly, even if you're a planner girly, when do you start to set up your planner for November? Or when do you start looking up themes for November? Do you know what themes you would like to have for next month? I think I know what theme I want. I'm going to test it out in the back of my journal like I always do. But let me know down in the comments, what do you guys usually do for October? Is there a certain color scheme that you always do? Are there certain doodles that you will usually carry over from year to year or from month to month? Just let me know down in the comments what you're thinking for November. So this next spread I'm setting up right now is the first weekly spread. In the top left-hand corner, I am giving myself a mini calendar so I can see what week I'm in right now, and I highlighted that week, and I can also see the weeks that are coming up. I gave a section for my priorities and just highlighted every other grid space. And then I created a section down at the bottom for notes using that weird border or asymmetrical border that I started to like last month in my September setup. So you guys saw me trying to do those lines without a ruler, and I don't like how they look. So I did start to use a ruler to make sure those lines were straight. I don't know, it's just something about a straight, crisp line that I really enjoy when I'm working on the planner sections of my bullet journal. Although some people are really good at drawing straight lines without the ruler, I'm not. So I'm using a horizontal layout for my weekly spread where I have 3 days down at the bottom left and 3 sections up at the top right hand side, and I'm going to share a space for Saturday and Sunday. I am using some hand lettering to write the abbreviations for every day of the week, and then I'm going to write those small numbers as well. And that's it for this beautiful October setup, guys. Let's go ahead and do a final flip through. If you've made it this far, go ahead and leave me a pumpkin down in the comments and let me know what their October bullet journal theme is and your November theme if you already have one. Thank you so much for watching. I honestly appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.